This is Kenny from Kenny's Audiophile Record Reviews. Thank you very much for viewing my channel. Please like and subscribe. I really appreciate that. In this video, I have my son who's laughing right next to me because he's never been in a video with me before. But I have a general discussion about music and other things with my son. His name is Ian. So we're going to talk about several topics like his favorite genres, some of the best songs of all time, or not necessarily best songs of all time, but best singers of all time, and some other topics. You'll find them very interesting. But you want to tell them about yourself first before we...
All right, sounds good. Well, so hi, I'm Ian. For context, I'm 30, so that will inform my musical
and oh, by the way,
preferences.
I'm 62. By the way, I'm 62. I had him. I didn't have him, but you know, he was 31 when I was born. I was very close to getting to 32, but he's the only child I have. I have some stepchildren, but he's the only like
Flesh and blood.
Yeah, the child I have, and I'm cool with that. But anyway, yeah, you want to tell them about yourself, and before I get into my questions and stuff.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm Ian. I'm 30. Live in San Francisco. Love music, and I've loved music from a very young child because my parents both had music playing all the time and different kinds of music. So I think my tastes have split from there a little bit. But I listen to pretty much anything. So.
Anything else you want to say about yourself, or your interests or anything?
Or? I handcraft leather goods, so that's my day job. So I'm always I'm a creative as a person. So I guess, yeah.
Okay. Do you consider yourself an audiophile?
No.
Oh, really? Your father's an audiophile, and you don't consider yourself an audiophile?
No.
How'd that happen? I have my own opinion, but how did that happen?
Well, you raised me, so you tell.
No, I have my opinion, but how do you think that actually happened?
I don't know. Maybe it's because I grew up in the digital era, so growing up with having the music on an iPod.
I've always had a turntable.
Huh?
I've always had a turntable and a system.
I don't know. I just have never gravitated towards the actual.
Okay. I'll give my opinion. This is my opinion. I wanted to raise my son, so he I didn't want to push my loves and passions on you. Yeah. I have a great love for sports. I never push that on you. I have a great love for music. I never push that on you. I want you to seek out your own path and your own game plan and live your own life. Those are my loves and joys and passions. It shouldn't be necessarily his. I know a lot of parents, a lot of fathers push your kids into sports. And you played sports. Mm-hmm. You played basketball. You ran track. I remember playing basketball with you at the park. That was a father and son thing that I love to do. I don't know if that really got you playing basketball. I honestly don't know, but I never pushed you into basketball. That was your decision.
Yeah.
But that was one of my loves and passion was basketball because I actually thought I was good at it. But that's another discussion for another time. But that was my love, joy, and passion, sports and music. But it does not necessarily have to be yours. Mm-hmm. And I think I should not be the architect of your life. You should. And that was always my goal. So it never was a disappointment that you weren't, you're not passionate about sports like I am, are you?
No.
See, I tell my audience, I watch sports every night. I did it when you were a little child.
Yeah.
And
I'll watch it in passing, and that's about it.
Yeah, whereas I do it every night. It's like, let me ask you this. I don't know if you saw that video. What do you think I like more, sports or music? Carla answered the question. I never asked you a question. What do you think I like more, sports or music?
Music.
It's actually sports.
Oh, well, I was like...
It's close, though. It's close. Carla said sports.
I was like, you don't have a sports room.
Yeah, but I have a tablet and a television set.
I guess.
So I'm watching sports every night. Sometimes I've been going like days without listening to music.
Okay.
But I do not go days without not watching my Lakers, my Kings, the Rams. Yeah. I've been doing that ever since you were younger.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never want to push my loves, joys, and passions on you. You are the architect of your life, not me. So that was my that goal. So you're not an audiophile. Do you know any audiophiles?
Besides you?
Yeah, besides me.
No, I do not.
And you have a lot more friends than me, right? I don't have any friends, so it's an easy question to answer. Okay.
Yes, I do have several friends, but none of them are audiophiles.
Okay, I'm a loader and an introvert, so by default, he's going to have more friends than me.
I think if I had to guess, I have the most musical knowledge of anyone in my friend group.
Why you think that's the case?
I don't think they were raised with music in the same way, or with the breadth of music in that same way. Whereas, their parents may have listened to, I don't know, Journey or something, and that's about. But it wasn't, all sorts of different things. So, yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this: do you think that when I listen in my music room, I'm trying to listen to a 3D sound stage, the detail of music. I'm trying to pick instruments and musicians and singers in a three-dimensional space. I love music, but also the technology of music, and I want to enjoy it to the greatest degree possible that I can afford, and that's what I'm into. But do you think the average person is an audiophile, or do you think they're into it to that degree, or do you think they actually care? Based on the people you know, do you think they actually care?
I don't think they actually care, and they barely listen even to the lyrics, let alone like caring what it sounds like on a speaker. You know what I mean? So yeah. I don't think there's that much degree of interest in the science of hearing music. Is more of the pastime of hearing music. Because to me, the audiophileness of it all sounds more like like I said, a science.
Like a technical term.
Yes. More of instead of the creative pursuit of music, it sounds more like the technical study of how it sounds when you're listening to it.
That's pretty deep.
Well,
So you're saying that the average person simply does not care?
No. Yeah.
It's my contention that the average person does not care about what audiophiles care about. And even if they were to listen to something in a high fidelity manner where they can pick out musicians, singers in a three-dimensional space, I still don't think they would care. I think you've heard my system on some occasions. You don't seem to care, do you?
I'm here, I like it.
Okay,
but I wouldn't go to the extent of doing all this myself.
Buying it. You don't care. You don't care to the extent you say to yourself, "Gosh, I'm gonna go out and buy some of that stuff my father has."
No.
Okay.
I may buy the album, but I wouldn't buy the system that amplifies it.
Okay. What do you listen on?
Either my phone, like on my AirPods, or in my store I have a Sonos speaker.
Well, a single speaker, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's how you prefer to listen to music?
Preferably, I would be listening to in my headphones, like my Bose headphones, and the what do you call it? Where it tunes everything out. Like that. But yeah.
It's just, like I said, it's just my contention that the average person simply does not care about the high fidelity reproduction of sound. That's a very niche or niche, whatever you want to, however you want to pronounce it, segment of the population, and us audiophiles are smaller in volumes or amounts, whatever you want to call it, is real small in my opinion. I don't think it's that great, but I mean, you said the average person really does not care about music. I mean, they care about music. They care about music, but they care about the song, but not how it's reproduced. They don't care about listening to it on something like what I have. No. Yeah, they would care less.
So, I think I told you this before. So, to me, if I had to equate it, because I'm more of I like clothes. I like the history of clothes and the.
and why you can tell about my videos. I care 2 cents about clothes. I'm wearing a white T-shirt and jeans half the time, maybe a sports shirt on. This brother here, he's different.
I'm always decked out.
Anyway, go ahead with your point.
So, I'm interested, for example, like this little scarf thing. So, how the artist made the design, how then that company takes that design and it takes them a year to transfer that design onto this machine that then prints the silk, and then they then cut it and do all that stuff. So I'm into that. Whereas most people are like, oh yeah, that's nice, I'm just going to get it. They're not into the designer. What was the designer thinking? What was the message behind the collection? They don't care about all that. So to me, it's almost that same way with the audiophile stuff, where people, they like the song, but they don't care about all of this.
Okay. Okay. So you definitely didn't get your fashion sense from me then.
No.
Right on. I gotta ask you this question before I get into some other things. What's your favorite rap song of all time? The best favorite rap song you ever heard, or do you have one? I have one, but I'll let you go first, so I don't influence you. Or do you have one?
Oh man, that's too hard. That's too hard to quantify. Just the one. I can't.
Okay, I'm gonna say "Fight the Power" by Public Enemy.
That's a good one.
That's a real good one.
Yeah, I would say that one edges out because it has a certain message to it.
Yeah,
and they're also good rappers in their own right.
Yeah,
So
I'll say "Fight the Power." There's this one it's called, and I don't know if it's I forgot now. Now it's out of my mind now. I Got the Power, I think it's called.
Yeah.
I think it's by a group called Snap, but I'm not sure. I don't know if that's considered a rap song, though.
To me, that's more of a house music.
It's like a hybrid type of thing. But that's really good.
Yeah.
That's good. But I say Fight the Power by Public Enemy. What are your favorite genres?
I would say hip-hop, R&B. That's mainly what I listen to.
Mm-hmm.
I like neo soul a lot, so like the
what's that?
90s, 2000s, so like Erykah Badu.
Oh yeah, okay.
Maxwell, like that kind of stuff.
I was into Eric, but I was like in my 30s when all that stuff was happening.
Yeah. So that's what I listen like on a daily basis. Is 90s to now hip hop, R&B, neo soul. I like grunge. So Nirvana, even though the Cranberries isn't grunge, but Cranberries, stuff like that, alternative. I really like house music a lot. Dance hall kind of stuff. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, it's pretty much the go-tos. Pretty much like everything, but those are the things that I listen to on a regular basis. Okay. So you don't have too many records, do you? I have 5 records and no record player.
I thought you had one at one time, or no?
It was from Target and it broke, and I was like, I'm not getting a new one.
Okay.
I'm over this.
Okay. So you're not into it where you just go, where God, this vinyl sounds so good, I'm gonna go out and get another one.
Yeah, no, it was mainly because I just liked that album itself so much. I'm like, okay, I'll get it in a record vinyl form, just for a keepsake, not to necessarily listen to.
Okay. So again, in summary, hearing something in a high fidelity fashion, like say on my system, versus that Sonos speaker, you don't mind the loss in fidelity because you're interested in music. In the music.
I'm more interested in either the lyrics or how the singer is able to get their message across with their voice, and how that corresponds with the lyrics, how they hit this note and then they do this run into this thing. So I'm more interested in that. And to me, I get the gist of it on anything. I mean, obviously I don't want to listen to it on an old gurgly thing, but for me to be able to say, oh yep, the drums are behind me, the singer's in front of me, the trumpet's over there, the yada yada yada. I don't care enough to invest all that. Some of the greatest female singers of all time. We're going to get into that right now. So who are your choices? Since I'm on it, I have my list here. I got my list here, so I'm ready. All right. So what is this? What number am I stopping at? No, you don't have to. You don't even have to rank them. You can just give me like a few. Okay. I mean, obviously, I guess the Queen. So Aretha Franklin. Okay. She's number 1 on my list, by the way. I know this person is not on your list. Beyonce. No. Yeah. So I'm not saying she is a bad singer, but as a vocalist, I have a difficult time comparing her to Aretha Franklin, Etta James, Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald. Now I know I'm getting old with this stuff, but man, some of the songs some of these singers sing and the way they're mixed and delivered,
it's hard to discern if they're actually good vocalists or not.
Although I will say, from having been, I think I've been to 3 of her concerts now. So,
I haven't been to any, so
the fact that
I do have one of her records.
Yeah, thanks to me.
Yeah, I know you bought it for me.
So
he did buy the record for me, by the way.
So the fact that she can sing and dance and do everything live, and it sound just as good live, if not better, than the recording. To me, okay, there we go. So I would say also, maybe not necessarily now, but in her prime, Mariah Carey.
She was good.
You know, 1988 to 2004. I'd say that's her. That's her span, and then after that, you know.
Yeah. Out of fairness, I'm out of touch with the modern music because when my wife has the station on a more current station, what they're playing, I simply can't get into it. It does nothing for me. Well, as I was a little kid, you turn on a station, you hear like Stevie Wonder, Aretha Franklin, you know, Patti LaBelle, the Supremes, the Beatles, the Doors. What are they playing now? I'm serious.
I mean, you know, you can listen to Megan Thee Stallion or...
See, I don't even know who they are.
Okay, well, moving on.
Now, admittedly, out there are probably some great bands, but I think that when I was younger, it seemed like they were coming out with stuff back to back to back to back. Memorable stuff. Are they still doing that now, in your opinion?
Yes, but you have to know where to look.
Where do I look then?
So you're not going to hear it necessarily on the pop radio, like if, I don't even listen to, what is it, Kiss FM? Is that like a radio station?
Yeah, Kiss FM. Kiss FM I think it's still going. It used to be. It was going strong even when I was younger.
Yeah, so I wouldn't necessarily say that you would hear, you know, the songs we're going to be singing to, you know, 40 years from now on there. Maybe there's some, but for the most part, it's not like the classics that are going to go down in the books of history. Yeah. But there are a lot of artists, especially that I think you would like, that are still doing things and doing great things. They're just not packaged by the record companies in a way that everyone, you know what I mean? Like they pick their people and that's what people get.
Would you concede, do you think, based on, from a historical standpoint, that the hits were more frequent in nature compared to, let's say, from like the mid-60s to, let's say, the mid-70s? Don't you think the hits, from a historical standpoint, were more frequent in nature then than they are now? Or am I just out of touch with the modern music scene?
I just think the hits and what classifies as a hit and what people think are hits are just changing. I don't think...
I'm just talking about the quality of the music. You know, these memorable, iconic songs that were just coming out back to back to back during the early to mid-60s through the mid-70s in particular.
I think it's a very complex thing because, one, you stick with the genre or the time that you kind of become in a child, your formative years, adult, and then, you know, let's say through your 30s, 40s, okay? I feel like for most people, that's the time that they grab onto and, like, this is the best, okay? I'm sure your dad was saying the same thing. So, and they kind of, and the newer things that were coming out are kind of pushed to the side. I know for a fact that Pawpaw...
That's my father, by the way.
Yes. The music that were hits during the time, he was like, what is this? And you were like, this? What?
Well, he was a jazz fan, so that's what he listened to. So he wasn't going to bust out and listen to, like, you know, Parliament when I was going to high school.
But that's the music. But he was listening to the music.
But check this out. I would listen to stuff that sounds good during your era if I can find it. And one last thing, where do you find it at?
I mean,
because when I was a kid, you could turn on an FM radio to a station, and like I said, you could hear the Beatles on one song, Marvin Gaye on another song, Stevie Wonder on another song, The Doors on another song.
But now
Jefferson Airplane singing another
Oh
song.
gosh. But now it's all on, like, you can just go on Apple Music, Spotify, and there's pre-made playlists. And it's like, oh, I like this person. Let me make a radio station based off of this person. And then it takes all those like-minded artists, and then you go through this rabbit hole. So that's how I find a lot of people. But, okay, so going back to the thing, though. I think it is a mixture of a lot of people being, not saying necessarily stuck in the time frame that they prefer, and the newer things passing them by. For example, as people get older, I find that they have a harder time with the newer technology, you know?
No, not me.
No, not you. I'm just saying most people. Most
Okay.
people. So
I'm about to say, I got me a digital high-res player over there.
No, but I would say most people, you know, it's like, all right, they're stuck in their time, and then they don't really pay attention to the newer things that come along. So I think one is that. Two, I don't think the artists nowadays are as studied in music and music theory, how to build a song, as they were back then.
That's fair.
And also, just with social media, songs now are 2 minutes of that, whereas before,
Well,
it's like 3, 4, 5.
You know what? They had some short. They had some short 2.5 minute songs too, because they had to be short because within a small space they want to get so many songs in before the commercial break. So
No, that's true.
back then they weren't, unless it was some FM station, some liberal FM stations that's going to play, you know, some long song. You know.
Yes, but now it's a lot of the things that are popular are things on Instagram, TikTok, where it's just this half part of a chorus. The rest of the song is like, what is this?
Yeah.
But it's just that part, and that's what the artists are wanting to go to, because you don't make albums are not a thing anymore. People don't make albums; they make singles.
Okay.
And so I feel like that changes everything about how music is.
I wouldn't have a problem with it just as long as those singles are of high quality and something I love and enjoy. You know, if Aretha Franklin busted out with a single, let's say in 1969, it sounded good, I'd buy the single.
Yeah.
You were buying 45s back then too, you know?
Yes, but nowadays
They don't, you're saying they're flat out, they don't make those complete packages.
they don't make an album in its entirety. They're not looking to do things as a full musical project or even experiment with new sounds and really push it. They want to just make the catchy things that will make them go viral, so then people stream it on whatever. Like I was saying, I have Spotify.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that'll take you there, and then that's how they make their money,
Okay.
and then leave it at that. I don't think it's as much of an art form in the pop genre. Now, there are, like I said, I listen to people to where they make it a full spectacle.
Okay. Do you think there's people around with the same level, let's say, as Aretha Franklin, Stevie Wonder, so on and so forth? You know, Marvin Gaye.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It's just they're not what's popping.
Okay, all right.
You know?
There are some talent. I think personally, I think Bruno Mars. I don't know if you like him or not. I think he's amazing. You think he's all right? I think he's amazing. Personally, I think he's like almost like a variation or version, not quite. What's the name? James Brown in a small way. I think he's amazing personally.
I like his stuff, and he has great showmanship. I think, if I were to see him in concert or actual performance, yes. I just feel like, to me, it's too much of a recycling of what's already been done without putting an actual his spin. To me, it's like I just feel like it's like
I think his take on it is fresh. And he's on point. I like him a lot.
So I mean, he's still good though.
Yeah. But. So again, in summary, what are your favorite singers of all time?
Okay, so what did I say? Aretha Franklin, Beyonce, Mariah Carey, Celine Dion, Barbra Streisand.
What do you think of Adele?
I think she's a great singer. I just think she needs to experiment more with her sound.
I think she's one of the greatest modern singers today. Her material has to they need to upgrade her material.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but she
got the voice. She just got to bust out with some fresh material.
Yes.
That's what they do. That's what they need to do with her.
Yeah. And I would say Lauryn Hill, I think, is up there just for the whole musicality of it all. She can sing, rap, you know, they sound great. You know, so.
Well, the male singers. Now I didn't do a video of male singers.
I was actually thinking about this because I had a feeling you would.
I don't have a list of male singers. I didn't do that video yet. Frank Sinatra used to be on the top of my list. He's not anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, I changed my mind because Frank Sinatra to me is like a singer or vocalist version of the Beatles. The Beatles, in my opinion, were the greatest band of all time, but they weren't the most talented band of all time. They weren't the best vocalists, you know. They may not have been, in terms of guitar players, who's going to be better than Jimi Hendrix, who's going to be better than Eric Clapton. Yeah. They weren't in their class. Ringo Starr may have been a great drummer, but I can think of better drummers than Ringo Starr. You know, they're the best band of all time, in my opinion, but they're not the most talented. For example, I think in terms of vocalists, I can name a lot of bands who were better vocalists. The Temptations, the Four Tops, and I can go on. Delphonics, the Del Vikings, for crying out loud. The Dells.
All the Dells, yes.
They were better vocalists, in my opinion, than the Beatles. The Beatles just somehow put it together to make a complete package.
Well, to me, it's kind of the same way with, which, to me, she has the star power, well, the lead singer, but to me, the Supremes, to me, there are people who obviously have a way better voice than Diana Ross, but she has the package. She had the complete thing. So I feel like
she had great writers, great backing from Motown. She had great backup singers.
The charisma.
You know. And who knows? I don't know if she was even the best of the Supremes, but she was the best front person. Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
But I'd say Sinatra's on my list. He's not the best. Luther Vandross, Marvin Gaye is good. James Brown is a highly underrated singer. You heard it here. He's a highly underrated singer. That brother didn't get the credit as a vocalist because of the music he was singing. But if he went a different route, you can hear his amazing voice. I say James Brown is on my list too. Think of any others?
Donny Hathaway.
Oh, Donny Hathaway. That's a good one. Yeah. That's a good one.
I don't know if you said Stevie Wonder yet. I think
Stevie Wonder was good.
I'm trying to think of... I mean, Andrea Bocelli. We were just talking
Okay,
about.
Cool.
So, you know, if you want to go opera.
Yeah, that's cool. He's a singer. So,
yeah. I'm trying to think of... I listen to way more female singers than male singers.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I do like male vocalists. I mean, Tony Bennett was great. Andy Williams is underrated. I don't know if you heard too much of Andy Williams. He was a highly underrated singer. I think as a voice, I think his pure voice was actually better than Sinatra's. Sinatra just had the complete package, just like the Beatles did. Yeah. You know, just my opinion.
Oh, no, I totally forgot one. Freddie Mercury, to me.
Oh, as a rock singer,
those so good.
Yeah, those notes he can hit. Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
I have one last question, and this came up during. Me and my son have had debates back and forth since he was in I don't know what grade you were in. Because I used to,
middle school.
My son always went to private schools, and it was my responsibility to drop him off and pick him up. Okay, and so we get into these debates about music and stuff. Never sports, because I never went there because that was not his passion. I was cool with that, but we were getting into these debates, and we still have it now. These debates. But here's a debate. You said it was much easier to become famous and get yourself out there back in the 60s and 70s. Remember that debate? I say it's more easier now. What do you think? And leave your comments in the comments section below. I'm going to let you go first, and I'll give my opinion.
Okay, so I'm going to say it's more nuanced than that. I would say it's a bit more nuanced, but I think it was easier in the way that right now you have a lot of people clamoring for very few spots. I feel like...
Back then or now?
Back then you had... Basically, I think that, for example, now you can only have one top female rapper. You can only have one top R&B woman. You can only have one top... Just how it is now. Okay. Whereas even, for example, not even going back to the 60s and 70s, but going back to the 90s, there were so many different... You could have conscious rap. You could have gangster rap. You could have, I don't know, all sorts, there were girl groups, male groups, everything. Whereas now it's just so hard, I think, to break through to superstar status because of how turn and burn everything is.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm just talking about the process of becoming known and famous.
I will give it to you. I think that there were less opportunities back then because the internet wasn't around, social media wasn't around. But
you're making my case for me.
But I think, for example, going back to fashion because that's what I know the best.
Okay.
So there were so many designers or just creative people that would just have a little store.
Mm-hmm.
Someone would walk in, hey, do you want to be in Bloomingdale's? I'm going to put your whole collection. Or people used to walk in. If someone were to do this nowadays, they would laugh you out the building.
Mm-hmm.
People used to go in, students would go in with their collections to these stores.
Back in the day?
Yes, and just be like, hey, can I sell in your store? All right, yeah, give us a few pieces, and they're the biggest names out there.
I'm gonna give you something in your favor, too. I heard Herb Alpert of A&M Records, Formula A&M Records, he used to say people used to come down with their records to radio stations and say, could you play this? And some radio stations would actually play it, and then, so it was easier from that point of view.
Okay, wait, I'm amending my opening argument.
Go on, counselor.
You know what? I'm going to say I think it is equally the same. You just have to go about it completely different.
Okay, so you come up to why we're thinking. Here's my case. Are you done? I don't want to be rude.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's much easier now because of the internet. You have people who are famous for making freaking cat videos. You have people, you guys know that person. I think he's called. You ever heard of Mr. Beast?
Yeah, I have no idea what
this dude is a multi-millionaire for making YouTube videos and other videos. Mm-hmm. If he tried to do that crap in the 60s, nobody would have heard about him. So because of the internet, it's a lot easier for some little girl in Compton, California, in Los Angeles, in the Bronx, in Australia, to be in her bedroom, sing with this amazing voice, put it on YouTube, and the whole world's going to see it. Try and do that in 1965 or 1970.
But there's so many people, and it's too competitive. It's way too competitive, and there's so...
Yeah.
Especially, I'm saying for music, not saying social media stars.
I'm talking about music. I said a singer.
Okay. Yeah. Well, because you said Mr. Beast.
And also, I use him as an example. A singer can do the same thing. If you put somebody, this amazing little girl who has this amazing voice on YouTube, she's going to get 1 million views. Try and do that in 1965, see how many people... She had to go knocking on doors.
Okay, but here's my thing.
She would have to go knocking on doors to get people to pay attention to her.
Yes, back then. Okay, but I think, though...
One thing. Now you don't have to knock on nobody's door. You can do it through the internet.
Yes, but are these people being played on the radio? Are these people actually getting album sales and going on stadium tours? Okay? Or are they just playing small gigs? Are they just putting out small singles? What level of superstar? Are we talking about 1980s Michael Jackson, Rhythm Nation, Janet Jackson era kind of superstar? Are we talking about the Beatles kind of superstar? I don't think. I don't think.
What I'm trying to say is I think it's easier to get to that level because of the technology and the internet to reach those heights, in my opinion.
I think, yes, there are people, like, for example, Cardi B is probably one of the biggest female rappers right now. She came up through...
Do you really think she's talented?
God, I can't believe I'm about to say this. I can't believe... She's so problematic.
You got to say yes, huh?
To me, she cannot put anything on Lil' Kim, Nicki Minaj, even if you want to go back to, like, Queen Latifah, or if you want to, like...
That goes to show you, the internet and modern technology is so freaking good, it can take somebody who's bad, make them famous.
But she's not bad. But she also has how we were talking about the Diana Ross.
She has that it factor.
She has the it.
Yeah.
Whereas there are other rappers that are coming up in the game that are kind of social media-esque, okay? But they can't sell out a stadium. They can't
Yeah.
reach the
But
zenith of height.
But you never know who's watching these videos either, Ian. There could be some radio, what do you call it, music executive.
Mm-hmm.
Who say, man, that girl can sing, and
I think
and the internet is doing their recruiting for them in a way.
you can become rich. I think you can become rich
What?
nowadays a lot easier.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't think you can become. I don't think it's like you're a household name. You have long-lasting, whatever. There's so many rappers on that came up through SoundCloud that are lil this, lil that got stacks of money in their bedroom.
Uh-huh.
They're not going to go down in the books of history as Tupac,
They're
Biggie,
not.
Jay-Z. They're not going to reach that.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Sorry.
Here's the thing.
Nah, they're not going to reach that level. Sorry.
Fame doesn't pay your bills. Money does. And these people,
but we're talking about
these
fame.
people making bank.
We're talking about fame.
I'm talking about that too, because you could become a unknown to a known almost overnight. It's harder to do that. It was harder to do that back then. That's the point I'm making.
I'm also wondering if there's more one-hit wonders now than before.
Oh, there's a ton of one-hit. Yeah, I'll do a video of one-hit wonders one of these days. There was a ton of one-hit wonders back then.
But I'm wondering if now with how you're saying it's so much easier to become famous, I wonder if now it's just littered.
I think. Here's my opinion. I think regardless of the era, there were one-hit wonders throughout time.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I'm saying I wonder if
people had number one hits.
If there was a graph, if it is there was a steady one-hit wonder, and if now with social media,
I think that graph would be. Maybe it's a little bit more, but I think you make a great point. By the way, see, I can see when I need to, but I think there were one-hit wonders. I can sit down and just name all kinds of one-hit wonders from the '60s. Bands who showed up, and they disappeared like a thief in the night. Yeah. So I think regardless.
So I think in summary of my point, I feel like it is. I'm saying famous. I'm not saying rich. I'm not saying all that, but I'm saying decade-long famous. I think
it was easier then.
I think it's the same. You just have to go about it a different way.
Okay, I give the slight edge to the current times because of the technology, which allows them to get their product out there easier. You can do it for free on YouTube. I have one last question. You have anything else to say on that topic?
Yeah.
What?
Okay, how many people do you know came up that way and that are famous enough for you to know them now? Ah!
I'm just talking about concept theory. The reason why I can't give you one is because I'm out of touch with modern.
Yeah, but if they're that famous, you should be.
It is another thing. You know those reality shows?
Yeah.
That make all these people famous?
Yeah.
Didn't Adele come up through a reality show in her country?
I don't know. I thought she was more organic.
Well, what about that famous country singer?
Yeah, be more specific.
Gosh, she was on American Idol.
What, Carrie Underwood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they have those shows as well. But you break some good points. We'll call that a draw.
Well, let's see.
Even though I think I won.
I feel like the people in the comments are going to agree with you more, but
no, I think they agree with you more. They always agree with my guess.
We'll see.
More than me.
We'll see.
The greatest. One last topic. The greatest era in music history was, if you would give like a time span. If you want me to go first, I will. Or you want?
No,
me
you
to
can go first this time.
I think it's from approximately the folk era, maybe the late 50s, early 60s, on through the British invasion, the Motown sound, the Great American sound, through the early 70s, the soft rock, with the bands like Bread, the Carpenters, James Taylor, up until where maybe the disco era, and that's where I bring it to an end.
Okay.
So I'd say between and I'll include the 50s, by the way. I'm sorry. Even though that was a great era, I don't include that. But I include like the folk era on through the 60s, through up into the 70s disco era, around 75, 76, 75. What's yours?
I'm only basing it based off of the genres that I like.
Cool.
Okay. So I would say 1989, 1990 to about like 2004 or 5-ish.
Okay, that's what's greatest era in music history.
For me.
Okay.
For me.
Cool.
Because to me, at that era, when rap was becoming a lot more commercialized, mainstream, and rappers were being able to, really be household names.
That was,
so,
that was a
NWA,
great era for the rap. Yeah,
and,
Uh-huh.
Biggie, Tupac, all those people.
Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Yes.
I was listening to that when you were born, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, Bone Thugs and Harmony. That was a great rap group.
It was a renaissance for rock because I feel like grunge totally changed.
Do you think that was a renaissance for rock?
A modern renaissance, yeah.
Okay.
You don't think Nirvana
they were
changed
great. That's your okay,
a lot?
right? Okay, right on. I'm talking about like Led Zeppelin, the Doors, the Who.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm just too old school.
No, but I feel like there could be multiple renaissances.
Oh yeah, I think whether it's television, movies, or music or sports, you can have different golden eras.
Mm-hmm.
I think, for example, on television, I think this is one of the greatest eras in history.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could do a channel on movies and TV. I just have to stick, and sports, I just have to keep it to music. But anyway, you can have multiple golden eras in any genre.
Yeah.
Or any form of the arts.
Yeah, so like I was saying, Nirvana, Muse, Queens of the Stone Age, Foo Fighters.
Good points.
So people like that, and also with R&B. Oh my gosh, just the way that. I mean, I really like 80s R&B. I made like an 8-hour playlist for my store of 80s R&B, but just the way it transformed in the 90s is just, and how it still affects how R&B is today. You just can't.
Yeah, well, I think of, near to my heart, I think of the Temptations, the Four Tops, the Supremes, the Beatles, like I said, Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, the Rolling Stones. I could go on and, the Association, a great vocal group. I could just go on and on with all those great bands that were iconic. I mean, you had classical orchestras doing Beatles songs, doing the music from Beatles songs. That's how widespread the popularity of some of that music was. And I don't even know if you see that now. I don't know if you see a classical orchestra doing a Beyonce song.
Hey, I went to an orchestra of them in a church. Them doing Beyonce's greatest hits.
Okay, there you go.
And it was a string. It was all strings.
I'm talking about on radio, or on album.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm mainly referring to. I mean, you had, like I said, had classical orchestras doing Beatles songs.
Okay, but also you have to think of. I mean, I already said her, but Lauryn Hill. Her album was so good, she only had to do one. Alanis Morissette, her album. Oh my God. The one that Ironic is on, all that stuff. Perfect.
Okay. So you would take that era. You would take that era over mine, basically. Only because you can relate to it better.
I can relate to, and because it's from a time that I can, even though I was very young, just like when all those songs came out, you were very young. But it's a time that I can draw back to personally. Like I have personal stake in it. I have personal ties to it. Whereas I don't have that firsthand.
Okay.
So I do enjoy it a lot.
I like modern music. Don't get me wrong. When these new songs groups came out, 80s, 2000s, Outkast, I thought was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
There's some others. I'll grab it. It just has to. I know you disagree with it. It just has to sound good. That's all I want. It just has to sound pleasing in my ears, and that varies from person to person.
Yes, that's where I agree with you.
Okay.
It does vary.
You have any more closing words?
No, just that I like bantering with you on that.
We go through this all the time. I have a standing appointment on Friday to call my son. This is a message to fathers out there. I call my son every single week on Fridays. Even if we talk about the same thing over and over again, I talk to my son every Friday because I love my son. I'm a lot of dads or guys are ashamed to tell another guys that I love them. I love you, son, and I always will.
Love you too.
And I tell them that at the end of my conversation, he's one of the blessings of my life, along with my wife. And I'm so proud to have him as a son. I'm glad the way he's turned out and what he's doing with his life. But leave your comments on what we talked about in the comment section below. Thank you very much for viewing my video. God bless, love. Strong peace to all worldwide.